Joy, and I wasn't going to do a second video today. I was going to take it a little bit easy, but I saw a comment that had been on my mind, and I was like, you know what? I really want to respond. So I did. I did respond to the person, and I want to talk about this comment. Now, typically, as I said, I'm not going to try to give people in the comments too much attention, only because it's not that I don't respect your guys' opinions. And you'll see it. I'll answer a lot of people, and if you are nice and kind and respectful, I'm happy to be so back, right? I've kind of learned you have to set boundaries with your audience and with people, which is hard for me because I like to be just really open and really friendly. But there are all types of people, kind of like, just in the world, there are good people and bad people. It's the same on the internet, obviously. Just my first go around, it took me a little bit to realize that. But today, if you saw the title of today's video, let me start out by saying what I'm going to be talking about does not necessarily pertain to you if you are somebody that has weight issues as a result of you are overeating or you are doing things that are incorrect with your diet and lifestyle. So if you're somebody that, is doing lots of sugar and lots of calories, if you're doing certain things that is contributing, or you have some type of eating issue, eating addiction, this is not what I'm referring to. This video today is going to be supporting and raising the voice for people, specifically women, but this happens with lots of people, but this will be aimed more at women, about weight issues that have nothing to do with your bad diet. You could be doing everything right and you could still be gaining weight, or you still might not be able to lose it. Also, if you want to see more videos like this that are real specifically health related, make sure and subscribe and hit notifications. Most of my videos are going to have a health theme to them with a lot of the stuff that I talk about. I would say the majority of the stuff, whether it's mental health or physical health, and trying to educate and bring awareness to different issues to people that they might not know that exists, or they might not be aware of. That's very, very important for me. Specifically, go check out my series on Eugenia Cooney. She's a very popular social media influencer who is, she very obviously has some eating issues, and so we talk a lot about health in those videos, and I would love to see what you guys think about that. I also have some videos on Shane Dawson, about Onision, Trisha Paytas, and several other figures. I would love to see what you guys think. Okay, on with the video. So, and you guys know, and I'm not going to go into the whole history of it, but you guys know I suffered from a chronic illness that I was very small. I was about 105 pounds. And I put on 170 pounds within a 2-year period, and you guys watched it happen. A horrific thing to go through. The comment that we're talking about is based off of me talking about the fact that during this time, anything that I ate that was considered healthy backfired. Back then, my diet used to be a lot of steamed vegetables or sauteed vegetables, all low carbohydrate vegetables. They didn't have a ton of sugar, even though some can, but again, it's certain types of carbohydrate complexes. I did a lot of onions for my health, and I did a lot of fish, a lot of salmon, and a lot of salads with low fat, low carbohydrate, low sugar, low sodium dressings. I had everything across the board, and I want you guys to understand, me being 105 pounds, I wasn't just tiny and then ballooned. I've had issues with my weight throughout my life. So for me to be small, I've always had to be very OCD, very dedicated, very controlled with my diets. Here's the problem. Many times in my life, no matter what my diet was or how stellar it was, per what society said, or how much I worked out, or how much cardio, or how much weight training, or how much I did, I couldn't lose weight. And nobody knew why. And I want you guys, if you don't believe what I'm saying, I challenge you to go look at the comment section of some of my videos about Eugenia Cooney. Across the board, women are saying the same thing. I've had weight issues. Nobody believes me. Chronic illness issues. Nobody believes me. I've had weight issues. My parents, my grandparents, everybody, society says, stop eating. Don't eat so much. Specifically as women, we're not believed. Now, I'm not saying, I know men have this too. Hashtag men too. I get it, right? But again, this is aimed at women because so many times we are just discarded and not believed. I don't understand why we're second-class citizens. It makes me sad because I'm like, if I'm feeling this way as a woman, how do minorities feel? Oh my goodness, my heart goes out to y'all. Some of the stuff y'all put up with, and then you have society say there's nothing wrong. You're just X, Y, and Z, right? It's a mess. But let me go ahead and pull this comment up and read it to you. And then I've got some information that I think you'll find interesting. Let's take a look. Now, the person who left this comment, I blurred out their name and their picture simply because I don't think they were ill-intended. I'm going to try to go from the basis of, if I don't know what your intention is, I'm going to think you are not ill-intended unless I see signs of that. I think that this person means to kind of educate, but what they're saying can be very, very harmful to the wrong people. And this, again, I feel like can be the unconscious entitlement of men and people in good health. Because, well, it works for them, so the women must just all be lazy or not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So this is what this says. It says, joy, you don't gain weight from a calorie-reduced diet. What they're referring to, as I talked about, in the middle of being sick, if I started eating heavier foods that I typically wouldn't eat, like things more like meat pizza, as weird as that sounds, even though I was more vegetarian or pescatarian, when I did that, I could gain 5 pounds overnight. I'd get very sick to my stomach. I'd say my cheat days are the days I want to eat healthy because I'd get incredibly sick. And when I would get sick to my stomach, with, how do I say this? With bowel movements that weren't nice, put it lightly, and not from my mouth, but, other way, I would gain weight. And so I would talk about this, and I said I actually felt better, and I was able to maintain my weight on the heavier foods. It made no sense. I know to society's standards, it made no sense. So that's what they're referring to. It says, joy, you don't gain weight from a calorie-reduced diet. If you do it incorrectly, you might maintain because your body is retraining, I think it means retaining, fats, because it thinks you are starving yourself, but you didn't gain weight when you are burning more calories than you are taking in. Long story short, you didn't, in quotes, gain 5 pounds from those salads. You gained weight from all the other calories you had intaken that week. If you're going to discuss such a serious topic, please be sure you get the information you share correct. And so if you can see from this, I don't think the person was ill-intended who wrote this. I think from their perspective, I'm just not sharing the right information, and maybe some reason that could be, not good for my audience. I get that, right? Like I've had some people and they write things or like I'm concerned because, right? And as long as you're coming, and I'm pretty good at picking up on what kind of intention you're coming from at this point. As you guys know, I've had to deal with so many different types on the internet. I've gotten pretty keen to picking stuff up. I'm not mad at it, but I realized I'm like, this is such a harmful idea, not only to put out there, but specifically to put out there to somebody who's saying they're chronically ill. If you are chronically ill or you are a woman, this doesn't necessarily mean it's how it works for you. And I can already hear people saying, well, this is what science says. Here's the problem with science. Number one, science in our country has been hijacked by companies and corporations and special interests for a really long time. You can even go look up. There's all types of information about pop science. You know how you'll see a lot of weird headlines like smelling your farts helps get rid of cancer, weird stuff that they'll laugh about in the news? None of it's actually real. It's just different random variables and studies that they'll take a study about something completely different, put it together and see what they can get a headline out of. It's pop science. It doesn't necessarily make it real. And how many companies and corporations have their own doctors and scientists that they work with when you get sick? You go in, they say there's nothing wrong with you, like from your work, so they can't get sued. And on top of that, when it comes to science and when it comes to studies, you have to look at who funded it, who's peer reviewing, where's the money coming from, what colleges, what education, what laboratories, who's behind it all. You have to really look at this because so much of what we hear is science, again, has been hijacked. And this is frustrating to me because I believe in science and I believe in the scientific methods. I do think they don't go far enough to explain things, but that's the beauty about science. The more technology we create for science, the more we can understand. So for instance, before we had telescopes to be able to see cells, we didn't really know what cells were, right? Because you can't really see them. So I feel like it's the same thing with science. So it frustrates me because I think it's limited, but that's the beauty of it. We will expand and we will learn more about the universe, which to me is just so exciting. So understand, I'm not anti-science. I'm anti-corruption. And here's the problem, and as I've said, we do not understand women's bodies in our society, and we do not take women's health seriously across the board. Why is it routinely women have such a harder time with their weight than men? Yes, there's a lot of factors. And you'll even hear people say, well, hormones. Well, why aren't we tailoring nutrition and weight loss around our hormones? And how many people now are chronically ill that never were before? I've told this story, so I'll try to make it short for the people who don't know. But when I was younger, I had extreme asthma and allergies to the point where people didn't believe me about it because it was so uncommon. Like asthma was kind of rare. That was uncommon about how many years ago would that be? 25, 30 years ago, 20 years ago? And now almost everybody has an allergy to something. Something has happened to the food, to the water, and to our hormones that have made it so women have an even more difficult time with their weight. And nobody believes us. And these videos I'm doing, if you've seen it about Eugenia Cooney, go check them out. I talk a lot about weight issues and that so many women have eating disorders who don't look like Eugenia. Well, if it's all about calories in, calories out, and being burned, well, how is that? How is it that so many women are running around not looking like Eugenia but might have eating issues that are as severe as her? Let's take a look. Somebody actually sent this to me in the comments. Hey y'all, thank you for doing that. This is from change.org. It says a fifth of women may have an eating disorder. It says a fifth of women may have an eating issue. I find this one kind of funny, only in the sense, not that the topic is funny, but I'm like a fifth. I would say probably 75 to 80% of women at some point in their lives are going to have an eating issue. They're going to have it. So that's just one simple one right there. But the other thing I want to go into is what are some factors that you might have weight issues specifically as a woman that wouldn't be just calories in, calories out. And what I want to say is if you're a man, you have a healthy gut microbiome and your health is in great shape, sure. When it comes to what we know about weight loss, which is all tailored to men, and it's tailored to men who are trying to lose weight quickly like before an operation, we'll get into that in a minute, sure, this formula can work. The problem is it's not working for women, and we have very little research and studies in this industry about weight loss when it comes to women's health because we don't care, because we are objects to be used. Still, it still happens in society. So I want to go over some issues so you know some different things, and I'm literally just going to do simple Google searches and you can see issues that will happen where it's not just calories in, calories out about why people can gain weight. Let's take a look. Simple search on Google, chronic inflammation makes you gain weight. It says, studies show that inflammation is a common underlying factor for all major degenerative diseases, including heart disease, cancer, hypertension, diabetes, and that it can also cause weight gain and difficulty losing weight. The good news is inflammation is linked to several diet and lifestyle factors. Literally, that's just one headline. Just one. Let's continue to look. Can chronic pain make you gain weight? And then you can see, it says, if you suffer from chronic pain, weight gain may occur because you are less active, because you eat more in response to the stress of coping with daily pain, or as a side effect of other medications, or if your pain is caused by inflammation, like we just looked at. The excess weight gain can put more stress on your joints, compress your spine, and make exercise difficult. How about fibromyalgia? Numerous studies have pointed out that fibromyalgia can lead to weight gain, and a sedentary lifestyle and extra weight can lead to more severe symptoms. So then I did another one. Can hormones make you gain weight? And here's one where they talk about menopause. It's a very interesting subject. But here's one from Medical News Today. It says, can estrogen levels affect your weight gain? Many women report that changing estrogen levels affect their weight, particularly around menopause. They may notice that they are gaining weight or that it's more difficult to lose weight. Some forms of estrogen are linked to how body controls weight gain. As such, any changes in their levels could lead them to changes in body weight. So, what is the relationship between a woman's estrogen levels and her weight? Menopause, estrogen, and weight. Estrogen levels can be low in women for many reasons, or some people can be too high, which is something that I've talked about. And the most common reason is menopause, but guys, your hormones can be messed up for all kinds of reasons. What they're not including in here is birth control. This is when a woman's reproductive hormones decline and menstruation stops. So I'm going to go down here just a little bit. It says this type of fat tends to gain to build up in the abdomen, around the organs, what's known as visceral fat. Visceral fat can be not safe. It's been linked with several other medical conditions, including diabetes, stroke, heart disease, some cancers. Then I also want to bring up some issues that we have been dealing with when it comes to my diet and my gut issues. There are different things that can affect you when it comes to your gut. For instance, lectins. Now, what is a lectin? So here we go. Lectins are a family of proteins found in almost all foods, especially legumes and grains. Some people claim that lectins caused increased but permeability and drive autoimmune diseases. While it's true that certain lectins are not good for you and cause harm when consumed in excess, they're easy to get rid of through cooking. But that's not true for everybody. And that's why, interestingly enough, a lot of these people who are screaming go vegetarian and vegan, well, I think they have good intentions deep down. For some people, it can be very harmful because some people that get into lectins, some people can't handle that or they have a buildup of that in their system. It causes all different types of stomach issues. And this is from reordingclinic.org. It says lectins, the foods that you are eating that are making you fat, inflamed, and tired. I'm not going to go over the whole article, but there's a lot of good information. I'll just go over a little bit of this. It says, we live in an incredible time in history, and at no other point in life has it been so comfortable for humans. We don't have to forage for our food. We live in temperature-controlled environments. We sleep on soft mattresses, and we have the vehicles to transport us where we need to go. Yet, we are in the midst of an epidemic of chronic disease. 2.1 billion people are overweight or obese. That is 1/3 of the world's population. Inflammation-related conditions are on the rise. And then it gives some information on what that is. As people are stressed, tired, anxious, depressed, disconnected, in pain, and angry, we are quick to want to medicate our symptoms away without asking what could be the root of the symptoms. I can't speak to your exact condition, but what my experience has taught me is that inflammation is at the root of most chronic diseases. There are common causes of inflammation in our diet that we know we should avoid, such as sugar, white flour, chemical additives and preservatives, high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, and many more. However, if what I told you was a protein embedded in many of the healthy foods that you are eating that could be triggering your inflammation, the protein I'm talking about are called lectins. Lectins, not to be confused with lecithin, that says, and it's emulsifying agent, or leptin, a hormone that regulates fat storage and appetite, are proteins that are found in high quantities in grains, beans, and certain fruits and vegetables. These proteins are made by plants as a defense mechanism against people who want to eat them. Lectins create an inflammatory response in the person that wants to eat them. Most animals, apart from humans, when they eat something that doesn't make them feel good, they try to avoid it. How do lectins work? They are large proteins that are very sticky and bind to carbohydrates, sugars, especially polysaccharides, in the animal's body after it consumes the plant. These sugar molecules are primarily on the surface of cells and disrupt messaging between the cells by creating a toxic or inflammatory response. One example of a sugar molecule that lectins bind is sialic acid, which is found in the gut, the brain, between the nerve endings, the joints, the bodily fluids, and in the lining of blood vessels. This is why people who consume a lot of foods that are high in lectins are inflamed and can have achy joints, brain fog, and fatigue. A lot of that sounds like the fibromyalgia that I've had. And so then it says, in the book, The Plant Paradox, Dr. Stephen Gundry says that the lectins facilitate the attachment and the binding of viruses and bacteria to their intended targets. Some people, those who are more sensitive to lectins and therefore more subject to viruses and bacterial infections than others. This makes me curious about people who have chronic infections such as Lyme disease, which causes fatigue, achy joints, and brain fog. All the same symptoms as sensitivity to lectins. Another effect the lectins have can stimulate weight gain. Other specific types of lectin, wheat germ, aglutin, WGA, is especially responsible for this. One of the ways it does this is it bears a striking resemblance to the hormone insulin. Insulin is what makes the sugar available in our cells so that they can burn for energy. Interesting. It's something that can cause weight gain where it's supposed to be healthy. Because WGA mimics insulin, it binds to the insulin receptor sites on the cells, which block the action of insulin. This results in poor energy utilization, fatigue, and more sugar being pumped into fat cells, stimulating weight gain and insulin resistance, which are precursors for diabetes. Lectins can also stimulate leaky gut. Something that I've been struggling with. Because the lining of our digestive tract is only one cell layer thick when lectins attack the mucosal lining of the gut. They create inflammation and pry apart the tight junctions in the intestine walls. And then it asks about what foods. Listen to this. Foods high in lectins. So it says, what foods in the American diet are high in lectins? Below you will find a list of foods to avoid. For a comprehensive list, it gives you a book that you can check out. It also says the reason for the book title is that paradoxically, there's a lot of healthy foods that contain vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that are essentially good for our health, but also high in lectins. We need to be aware of how we prepare foods, the quantity, and how we consume certain foods. So here's some stuff that's high in lectins. Wheat, corn, rice, white potatoes, oats, quinoa, legumes, including peanuts and cashews, soy seeds, cucumbers, zucchini, pumpkins, squashes of any kind, tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, and goji berries. A lot of this stuff, guys, I completely lived off of. So a lot of this stuff, again, you could be eating great, healthy diet, and you could still be having issues. Amazing. Now, let's look at another thing that can make you gain weight. Oxalates. This is something with your diet too. What is an oxalate? Oxalate is a naturally occurring molecule found in abundance in plants and humans. It's not a required nutrient for people, and too much can lead to kidney stones. In plants, oxalate can help get rid of extra calcium by binding with it. That's why so many high oxalate foods are from plants. This is from Dr. Sarah Gottfried, MD. How oxalates affect your gut, urinary tract, and risk of autoimmune conditions. In a personalized lifestyle medicine, sometimes one person's superfood is another person's poison. Such is the case with oxalates, which are found in high concentrations in many presumed health foods. Once I started testing, I realized many of my patients were experiencing the downstream consequences of excess oxalate intake, usually in the form of green smoothies full of spinach, kale, and other greens. Amazing. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds in foods like spinach, kale, nuts, beans, and even chocolate that can interfere with the absorption of vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. Now, I do want to go down here. You guys can read this stuff on your own. I don't want to go into too much on this, but it says what symptoms are caused by oxalate overload. Gut problems, including bloating. Oxalates can irritate the mucosal lining through the body. Chronic pain, kidney stones. Interstitial cystitis, a syndrome of painful bladder. Vulvar pain, and vulvodynia, joint pain, inflammation, muscle stiffness, bloating, autoimmune conditions, mineral deficiencies, and even autism. That's crazy. Now, let's look at another one, another autoimmune. Hashimoto's, which a lot of people had said get me tested for. We never got that far, and I don't think it's an issue, but let's look. Hashimoto's disease often leads to hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, when severe, can cause your metabolism to slow down, which can lead to weight gain, fatigue, and other symptoms. How about can thyroid make you gain weight? It says an unexpected change in weight is one of the most common signs of a thyroid disorder. Weight gain may signal low levels of thyroid hormone, a condition called hypothyroidism. In contrast, if the thyroid produces more hormone than the body needs, you may lose weight unexpectedly. This is known as hyperthyroidism. And how about diabetes? We saw diabetes on here. Weight gain is a common symptom of diabetes and often in other insulin-related medical conditions. Compared with people who do not have diabetes, young adults with the type 1 diabetes have a higher risk of developing excess body fat or weight or obesity. Now, there are many other things I know that I'm leaving out from the things that I'm telling you. There are tons and tons of health issues that can lead to weight gain. So is it really that impossible that I ate a salad and I gained 5 pounds the next day? No, especially with the type of issues I have. Remember, I've talked about having a histamine disorder, and when you have histamines, many times it means weight gain. That is one thing that goes hand in hand. So it's not necessarily about calories in, calories out. It's that my body can't regulate what's going in and then ends up just storing everything, including water. I think one of the reasons I was able to lose weight so quickly, by the way, I did this much exercise, this much. I can't exercise yet. Here soon, probably over the next month or so, I'm gonna start with walking 5 or 10 minutes a day. I do once a week do walks in the park, but they're short, maybe 10 minutes. So I'm gonna start there and have to build up since I don't have a lot of muscle. But none of this was through weight loss. It was all through diet. And it was, 125 pounds in a year is fairly quick with no working out. But what I wanted to point out is this harmful idea that all weight loss and all maintaining weight is calories in, calories out, your diet, and working out. Because sometimes you can have the cleanest diet, you can have the best health and the best situation, and no matter what you do, you're still overweight, you're still obese, you're still gaining weight, you still have health issues. And I want you to know, if that is what's going on with you, there's nothing wrong with you in terms of your mental state. You don't need to cut back on calories like a lot of people will say, well, just stop, blah, 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 stop eating. That if you are genuinely going through this, don't let other people gaslight you, because there could be something wrong. You could have a body that is responding to different things differently or have underlying health issues and health triggers that could be causing all of this. So I want you to be aware of that, because I feel like, again, our health is so overlooked in this country. And if you don't believe me specifically about women's health, take a look at this frightening information. This is from the CDC.gov. I'm just going to read the little bit on here with Google. Since the pregnancy mortality surveillance system was implemented, the number of reported pregnancy-related deaths in the United States steadily increased from 7.2 deaths per 100,000 live births in 1987, to 17.3 deaths per 100,000 live births in 2017. From Harvard Business Review. This is from June 28, 2019. The rising U.S. maternal mortality rate demands action from employers. It's time that we demand that we get real science in our society, not science that's bought and sold from companies and corporations and special interests who at the end of the day don't necessarily want to make us healthy. And why not? Because the more that we're medicated, the sicker we are, the more money we have to go spend that we can't afford. When a lot of times when you can't work, you can't get insurance at these doctor's offices or hospitals. I would have never gotten properly diagnosed had I not finally been able to get on insurance. Thank goodness for roommate. And I was able to get that help doing that. And I'm so tired of people. It's people across the board, but it's especially women who aren't believed about their issues. So I just want you to know on my channel, it's so funny. I feel like an SJW saying this, but this is a safe space when it comes to your health issues, about you not being heard, and about trying to get the right information to people. So I just want people to know that the simple weight formula we know doesn't work for so many people because we have to get a focus and a handle back on health in our society. Okay guys, if you like this video, please let me know and give me a big thumbs up and give me a like the video, subscribe, and then hit the notification button too so you know when I upload. Comment, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm onto something? Do you think I'm totally off base? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I'm very curious. I feel like it's going to be a lot of women sharing their stories, and I feel like there's going to be some men being like, that's not the case. You know, we'll see. But you know what? As long as you're respectful, I'm open to what you have to say. And guys, please share this information with people that you know might be struggling with weight issues, struggling with chronic illness, or people that you think might jive with this kind of content. Also, go check out my other series. I talk a lot about these types of issues in my Eugenia Cooney videos because she has eating issues, so that's become a big topic. I've done some videos on Onision, Shane Dawson, Trisha Paytas, and several other figures. I'm starting a series on Britney Spears. Very excited about that. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure and stick around. Okay guys, I'm gonna go and get stuff ready for my next videos, but I just love making videos for y'all. I'm having so much fun with you guys. Thanks for coming to hang out, and until next time guys, I'm wishing everybody well and blessings and lots of love. Take care until the next video. I'm giving you guys hugs and kisses. Bye guys.